English Grammar in Years. Raymond Murphy.
Unit 95. Relative clauses, 4. Extra information clauses, 1. A. There are two types of relative clause. In these examples, the relative clauses are underlined. Compare. Type 1.
The woman who lives next door to me is a doctor.
Grace works for a company that makes furniture.
We stayed at the hotel you recommended. We stayed at the hotel that you recommended.
In these examples, the relative clauses tell you which person, or thing, or what kind of person or thing the speaker means. The woman who lives next door to me tells us which woman. A company that makes furniture tells us what kind of company. The hotel that you recommended tells us which hotel. We do not use commas with these clauses.
We know a lot of people who live in London.
Type 2.
My brother Ben, who lives in Hong Kong, is an architect.
Anna told me about her new job, which she's enjoying a lot.
We stayed at the Park Hotel, which a friend of ours recommended.
In these examples, the relative clauses do not tell you which person or thing the speaker means. We already know which thing or person is meant. My brother Ben, Anna's new job, and the Park Hotel. The relative clauses in these sentences give us extra information about the person or thing. We use commas with these clauses.
My brother Ben, who lives in Hong Kong, is an architect.
B. In both types of relative clause, we use who for people and which for things. But Type 1. You can use that.
Do you know anyone who speaks French and Italian? Do you know anyone that speaks French and Italian?
Grace works for a company which makes furniture. Grace works for a company that makes furniture.
You can leave out who, which, that when it is the object. See Unit 93.
We stayed at the hotel that you recommended. We stayed at the hotel which you recommended. We stayed at the hotel you recommended.
This morning I met somebody who I hadn't seen for ages. This morning I met somebody that I hadn't seen for ages. This morning I met somebody I hadn't seen for ages.
We do not often use whom in this type of clause. See Unit 94B. Type 2. You cannot use that.
John, who speaks French and Italian, works as a tour guide.
Anna told me about her new job, which she's enjoying a lot.
You cannot leave out who or which.
We stayed at the Park Hotel, which a friend of ours recommended.
This morning I met Chris, who I hadn't seen for ages.
You can use whom for people when it is the object.
This morning I met Chris, whom I hadn't seen for ages.
C. In both types of relative clause, you can use whose and where.
We helped some people whose car had broken down.
What's the name of the place where you went on holiday?
Lisa, whose car had broken down, was in a very bad mood.
Kate has just been to Sweden, where her daughter lives.
Relative clauses, Type 1. Units 92 to 94. Relative clauses, Type 2. Unit 96. Exercises, 95.1. Make one sentence from 2. Use the information in brackets to make a relative clause, Type 2. You will need to use who, whom, whose, which, where. Catherine is very friendly. She lives next door to us.
Catherine, who lives next door to us, is very friendly.
We stayed at the Park Hotel. A friend of ours recommended this hotel.
We stayed at the Park Hotel, which a friend of ours recommended.
We drove to the airport. The airport was not far from the city.
We drove to the airport, which was not far from the city.
Kate's husband is an airline pilot. I have never met Kate's husband.
Kate's husband, who I've never met, is an airline pilot. Kate's husband, whom I've never met, is an airline pilot.
Lisa is away from home a lot. Lisa's job involves a lot of traveling.
Lisa, whose job involves a lot of traveling, is away from home a lot.
Paul and Emily have a daughter, Alice. Alice has just started school.
Paul and Emily have a daughter, Alice, who has just started school.
The new stadium will hold 90,000 spectators. The stadium will be finished next month.
The new stadium, which will be finished next month, will hold 90,000 spectators.
My brother lives in Alaska. Alaska is the largest state in the U.S.
My brother lives in Alaska, which is the largest state in the U.S.
Our teacher was very kind. I have forgotten her name.
Our teacher, whose name I have forgotten, was very kind.
We enjoyed our visit to the museum. We saw a lot of interesting things in the museum.
We enjoyed our visit to the museum, where we saw a lot of interesting things.
.2 Read the information and complete the sentences. Use a relative clause of type 1, or type 2. Use commas where necessary. My brother is an architect. He lives in Hong Kong.
My brother, who lives in Hong Kong, is an architect.
The strike at the factory has now ended. The strike began 10 days ago.
The strike at the factory, which began 10 days ago, has now ended.
I was looking for a book this morning. I've found it now.
I found the book I was looking for this morning. I found the book that I was looking for this morning. I found the book which I was looking for this morning.
I've had my car for 15 years. This car has never broken down.
My car, which I've had for 15 years, has never broken down.
A lot of people applied for the job. Few of them had the necessary qualifications.
Few of the people who applied for the job had the necessary qualifications. Few of the people that applied for the job had the necessary qualifications.
Amy showed me a picture of her son. Her son is a police officer.
Amy showed me a picture of her son, who is a police officer.
.3 Are these sentences okay? Correct them. And put in commas, where necessary. If the sentence is correct, write OK.
Anna told me about her new job, which she's enjoying very much.
My office, which is on the second floor, is very small.
The office that I'm using at the moment is very small.
Sarah's father, who used to be in the army, now works for a TV company.
The doctor that examined me couldn't find anything wrong. The doctor who examined me couldn't find anything wrong.
The sun, which is one of millions of stars in the universe, provides us with heat and light.